What's up, you guys? We have the 97 Toyota Tacoma 3.4. This one's the manual. Today we have issue where the throttle, when it's driving after you are done accelerating and you come to a stop, to idle, doesn't go all the way back to its idling RPMs. If you, let's say, push down on the accelerator and then just let it go so it slams back into position, you're more likely to get it to go back into correct idling RPMs. Or if you get out of the vehicle and open your hood and you come over here and you're able to push down, like pull it, you're going to pull it up and then push down and it kind of goes back to it. Or if you pull out on this, as you see when I turn this, we have some play right there. Now you can take off your air intake hose like I did here, and right here we have our our throttle, and then there is our plate. Now, as you see, it doesn't seal all the way, but if I pull out, it seals a little bit better right there. Now I'm gonna get that a little bit more clean down the inside, and if you see it, it does move a little bit, and when it closes like this and it's like, let's say this is pushed all the way in towards the back of the vehicle, you see it scraping on the side and you can hear it catching when you're doing it. And then when I pull it out, it's sealed all the way. So if you're having issues like this, and here's some ways you can look at it. We're gonna go ahead and get started. So what I went ahead and did is right here. I've already got my bolt off. And now all this is going to come off as well, and this is just pulling the throttle back. It's a little bit easier with two hands, but we got this. First wire off, as you saw, and then once we get these wires off, the bolt's already off here, we're going to make sure there's no retaining clips or anything like that, and I'm going to explain to you kind of what we're going to do and see if this works and helps us out. So we are here. I was trying to get it together to show you guys, but basically lubed it up. I got my screwdriver, one like so. I got it to go in between this part right here, and I just drove it down a little bit until it wedged it a little bit loose, and I was able to keep wedging it, and I noticed that it was starting to bend back and forth, left and right, up and down, as I was trying to wedge it more. So I just got this guy, was able to squeeze it in there like this and just pry it on all sides, and it slid right off. And so now we got this guy here. We're gonna get this all cleaned up because, as you can tell, it's a little gunky. And now we've got this guy here. Again, we're gonna get this guy cleaned up as well. Once we get this all cleaned up, everything's all nice. I'm gonna get in here a little bit, make sure in there is nice and lubed up, it's all cleaned up. I'm gonna check this guy out here. I'll make sure everything is functioning as it needs to be. And clean the inside of our throttle. Get a toothbrush. We're just gonna clean along this edge, the walls of the throttle, and then the throttle plate, we're going to, like the butterfly plate, we're going to clean the edges of that, the front and bottom side edges of everything. Make sure everything's nice and scrubbed up. Use it with some degreaser, some rubbing alcohol, anything like that. And then after we get all this cleaned up. I'm gonna make sure everything's good. Everything looks nice and tight. Lube up anything that needs lubed up. You know, check all my hoses, make sure everything's good down here. And we're gonna put it back together, but we're gonna put our washers on. Make sure our washers are nice and snuffed on there so it doesn't pull closed again, and then we'll see how that fits and then adjust it and go from there. So we're gonna go ahead and lube up sorry about that, our little area right here, and I'm just gonna take some all-purpose grease, nothing crazy. We can use anything that we want that's not gonna fuck with plastics or anything bad. And I researched and they said that a nice application of this on here always gets the job done. So again, we're just gonna take our all-purpose general grease and just coat very nicely. And then we'll clean up around this area when we're done. But I went ahead and got that on there. We're gonna go ahead and finish cleaning up around our little area. Now, over here I've got this thing being cleaned the crap out of. So now we're gonna go ahead and finish cleaning this up, and we'll get to the process of putting it all back together with our new washer placed. It's getting a little dark, started a little late, but I went ahead and put my washer on there, as you can see. Something like that. Next, we're just going to put the throttle back on. Make sure it lines up the same way we had it last time. And then once that's all together and on there, we will see how far we get back and see how the throttle looks after that. So let's go ahead, get that last throttle one last wipe down, lube it up, and let's put it on. So this is the right way because the cable pulls, opens it up. So basically what we're going to do now is see how close we can get to this. First, before we do that, let's make sure everything's lined up the way it should be. Nothing's binding or getting in the way. And then gonna just keep kind of pushing this on. And we're gonna put our bolt on and everything, get all certain spots cleaned up. Making sure that, you know, everything is in place. And we're going to double check everything right now. We're going to put the bolt on. We're going to get going. So with getting everything lined up, there's the return spring. That's right here. You got to get it through this latch right here. Next, I'm just going to lube up the inside of this spring here. And we're going to put the rubber casing around it. Maybe we'll get a little bit better of a drop on there. And with that, it looks like everything's working correctly now. And so once we do this, we're going to go ahead, Make sure this is set right. You're going to watch the inside of your throttle body. Check the gap. See how it runs. Test run it a few times. You can use different sizes of washers depending on what you need. Make sure everything's greased and nice and cleaned up. And now I'm just going to go ahead and get our bolt put back on here and get our linkage right here put on both sides again. And then once all that's done, we're going to go ahead and get it started to do a test drive and see how it goes. And that's how you repair your throttle linkage that is too loose, that's causing some throttle issues, some high RPM issues due to it wearing thin over high use and high mileage. So if you guys like the video, subscribe, follow, share.